I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. So, the name of this episode is A Toy Story. And today, what I want to talk to you about is Christmas before advanced technology, meaning Christmas before the internet, the way parents shop, the way people took thought to buy a gift as opposed to ads running and things of that sort. So we're going to take it back to around 1975. Around this time, I was a youngin', running around, little whippersnapper. So today, I'm going to go through all the toys that I experienced as a kid. So the football, it's the pig skin. In Chicago, you open the door on Christmas to that snow coming down, brutal weather, and you out there with your friends having lots of fun. It's a lot of love out there. You can't even feel that it's 20 degrees, 15 below zero wind chill factor out there. Cause you out there having fun. There's nothing to take away from your experiences with your friends. And another thing under that tree is a basketball. So if you lucky to have a community center or warm weather all year round, you know what it's like shooting 100 free throws every day. You know what it's like to play pony. You know what it's like to play 21. You know, the first person to 21 win. Every time you score, you go to the free throw line and you get to shoot 3 free throws and you get the ball back. Mind you, it might be 8 or 9 people playing, you know? But if you don't have a certain score by a certain time, you get eliminated. That's how we used to play. Another thing that might be under that tree is your favorite team memorabilia. So for me, it was a Pittsburgh Steelers sleeping bag at this time. You know, I had my favorite $6 million man pajamas on around Christmas. And I also had my Pittsburgh Steelers sleeping bag. This is before I even touched the football, y'all. I was just a loyal spectator and a fan. So at the time of this recording, my Steelers not doing too well and they playing like shit. I just have to say that. But I'm hoping that they pull it out. The remainder of the year, that'll be a good Christmas gift for me. So back to the toys. Um, so later on in life, maybe I say 12 or 13, I got Terry Bradshaw jersey, the football pants, the pads, the shoulder pads, and I also had a Pittsburgh Steelers helmet. Man, look here. My room was decked out. Steelers pajamas, Steelers and Bears flag in the room, and my George Gervin poster. Yeah, the Iceman. So, what else? It's safe to say that Spalding was a friend in my home growing up as a shorty. Um, yeah, I was active in football and basketball, and I think I was a good player in both sports. Shout out to the homie Burt Redman. He said I was Ken Marjoram. Not too fast, but clutch. Catch anything that I touch. But if you listen to this podcast, everybody know I wanted to be Lynn Swan. So let's talk about action figures, y'all. So my initial startup of the action figures was Army Man. Who didn't have a pack of 50 Army Men in a toy arsenal? You know, you got a bag and you set them to the side. You ain't even put them in a toy box because you ain't want to lose nothing. The Army Man. How many of y'all actually had a Stretch Armstrong? So, for those who don't know, Stretch Armstrong, you could call him maybe the first official wrestler or bruiser. He had purple trunks, and you could stretch him arms and legs. You could stretch him maybe about, I want to say 3 feet. And if you was destructive, you found out that he had purple gel inside of him. Yeah, that's messed up. But Stretch Armstrong, I had that toy. Um, bad not being no technology, limited things on TV. I think the most information that you was getting at the time was the radio. You really had to use your imagination. So look where we at now, y'all. Thanks to imagination. Back to the toys. Let me see. Pulsar. This dude right here, you can see his whole anatomy. You can actually punch his heart too. And it show how the blood vessels and stuff work. I ain't even asked for that. It's just something that I got. Something that I did want was Spider-Man. Yes. Kal-El, aka Superman. Yes. I was forced to play with Superman with my sister Steph and my cousin Paula. Shout out Steph. Shout out Paula. R.I.P. Paula. But yeah, Superman was at all the Barbie kickbacks, chilling. As Superman, not Clark Kent. We're just chilling, y'all. Let's see. Next, the $6 million man. It was a um, it was a really kind of big deal show back in the day. You just seen him fighting Bigfoot and using his strength and jumping. That was a toy. In short, that was a toy that had to be up under the tree, y'all. You know, they was running commercials and hey, I was so hey, I need the $6 million man. He came with a red tracksuit and some pro kids. The $6 million man did, y'all. Hey, I ain't tripping though. Um, for anybody that know outside or ever been outside, you went outside without a big wheel or a Huffy bike. Now my Huffy bike, it was the ultimate present, yeah. It was the ultimate present with the soft seat. If you're a listener of the Riders Live podcast, even though this is Christmas, y'all go back and listen to Scouts Honor bonus episode, and I'll tell you about my escapades and trouble with my Huffy bike. You know, I was getting into a little mischief back then, but we ain't gonna go into that. But go check out Scouts Honor It's an exclusive story about my Huffy and how I got my bike back out. Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels. So I got the Hot Wheels with the racing track. If you was out of order, the tracks could be used for disciplinary purposes. But when you're a little kid, you just enjoying the cars and racing them on the tracks and collecting many cars as you can, you know, instead of washing them and detailing them like you learn how to do when you get your first car or if you're an adult. You're taking care of those little cars by keeping up with them, racing them, racing them off anything, on the floor, at church, in the basement, wherever. You racing them cars, but at the same time, you taking care of those cars just like you take care of your car now. Hot Wheels was big under the trees of a lot of homes, y'all. Let me see. Now, this was the ultimate present as a shorty. The super duper double looper racing set. So you had these things that you put in your hands. They like little guns. And depending on the amount of pressure that you apply to the guns, it determined how fast or slow that the cars would go on the racing track. And, it was electrical, so you plugged it in. And when you came to the loop, you had to ease up just enough to make sure that the car go through the loop. You know what I mean? And comparable to the internet was the catalog. So you could order accessories and extra things from the catalog, and you'll have to go pick them up. They weren't mailing them to your house, but your parents will have to go pick them up. Santa Claus didn't bring it. What else? Mm. Particular action figures. Han Solo and Chewbacca. Yes. Darth Vader. Yes. R2D2, C3PO. I'm talking about the Star Wars franchise when George Lucas, I ain't gonna say he just started out, but when he actually brought everything to fruition with the New Hope, I had the X-wing fighter plane. It was awesome. And I wanna take the time out to thank my parents for all the great toys that I got. I appreciated them. Santa Claus was coming down the tree, hitting the home runs with the gifts, y'all. You know what I mean? So even though I had all these toys, it was less distractions. Like when I grew up, by not being on internet or nothing like that, I will have to say the greatest gift before like the internet or playing handheld video games or even an Atari. That's why Atari ain't on this list. And this is a specific time during my life. So the number one gift I will have to say, by me being about 5 or 6 years old, even though I had all those toys, sometimes I get bored, but it's nothing like a coloring book. Yeah, y'all, a coloring book. It stimulated my imagination. By me painting and drawing whatever colors that I wanted on a page, it helped me with things in the future. You know, When I was coloring on them pages, I was executing the ideas in real time, then and there. So fast forward to teenager, adulthood, and being a grown man, I still sketch things out just like I was in a coloring book, you know? Whatever ideas I have, I sketch them out in my own way so they can come into fruition and manifest. So I'm gonna say the greatest toy growing up was a coloring book. You ain't have to ask permission to play with it or get it. Long as you had some crayons that was broke or had a little bit of life to bring something together and a complete thought and idea at that time, you was in the mix. So I'm gonna have to say, in this edition of Writer's Live, the Toy Story, the greatest gift and impact on me as a shorty for toys and recreation, it's a coloring book. So yeah, y'all, this has been another episode of Writer's Live, Christmas edition, Toy Story. Peace.